Alright, so this is my latest gear acquisition syndrome trade here. I got the 5150. I traded a Friedman Runt for the head and the cab. I've always wanted to try one of the original 5150s. I've tried the EVH versions, I've tried the 6505s, but I never got to try a Peavey 5150. This is the block letter version, which, from my understanding, the block letter and the signature are the exact same amp. Come to find out down the line from the designer that the only difference was tubes between those two. Back in the day, guys used to tell you this one sounded better and this one ran you a few more bucks than getting the signature, because of the fact they preferred the tube sound of this one. So anyway, yeah, I got this amp, I got the cab. Pretty decent condition to be like a 1993 amp. If you've ever used a 6505, you understand the layout. There's a clean channel with a bright and a crunch, and then there is the lead channel. Now, for me personally, I find this amp to be a little bit more versatile than a lot of people give it credit. They think it does one thing really well. Well, I think it does maybe three things really well. The lead channel, of course, full-on middle aggression. The crunch channel, you can get a pretty cool classic rock type of crunch out of there. Not something quite as warm as, you know, an old school Marshall sound, but you can get a decent crunch tone out of it. And the clean channel, you can actually work it pretty well to get a decent clean tone, because you have two master volumes, so you can turn the clean channel master volume up and bring the gain down so that you can get, you know, a good level balance of volumes between the two channels, but still have a pretty clean tone. And if you turn the rhythm channel, which is the clean channel, if you turn the gain up to around 5, 6, 7, it takes fuzz pedals really well. So you can kind of stoner rock doom with this thing. You can get a decent clean tone. You can get some metal. You can get some classic rock. You can do quite a few different things with this one amp. And so yeah, I mean, you get a bright switch, you get a crunch, you have 3-band EQ, a shared 3-band EQ. You get a shared presence and resonance. You get a master volume for each channel. You get a separate gain for each channel. So you can really set it up as a good 2-channel, maybe 3-channel amp, depending on what kind of pedals you use. The lead gain, really around 3 to 5 is the most you ever need on this. I find myself running the lows under 5, the mids around 3 to 5, and the highs, you got to run the highs pretty high on this amp. If you don't run the highs very high, it's kind of like this muffled sound. It's not as open sounding. So crank the highs up about 6, 7, 8, and you're good on that. Then you have your resonance and your presence. Resonance is a matter of taste, and same thing as presence, but that's typically how I like to run this amp. You get a normal input gain and a high input gain. Quite possibly has the original tubes that it came with. So I'm really kind of debating on whether or not to change them, because I don't want to lose the mojo it's got now. It has these little cheap Ruby power tubes and some, what appears to be some cheap Russian tubes too, for the preamp. I don't really like the cab. The speakers that come in the cab are not really my cup of tea. I use my orange 212 with the 30s. I prefer those a lot. I think we'll try a couple different sound settings. We'll try something with some clean, kicking some pedals on, just to see how it takes a few pedals. So yeah, we're gonna do some clean with some pedals, some crunch, and some lead, and we're just gonna see, you know, what this amp can do. So let's get right to it. Alright, so first things we're going to check the lead channel. We're going to go through the lead channel without any overdrive, and then I will turn on either a Dunes or SD1, maybe both, we'll see, because they kind of react a little bit differently, but for the most part the same. So amp by itself. now we have the lows about 4.5, mids about 4.5, highs about 7, resonance and presence both about 7 o'clock almost. Now we're gonna kick on. Let's go with the dunes. We'll start without it, then kick it on, and you should be able to hear it. Alright, so that is the lead channel. That's not a whole lot more to say than that. That's killer if you're looking for that middle tone. So we'll go to the clean channel. And we have the rhythm clean gain about 6 o'clock, so it's crunchy. We got the bright turned off. Let's turn the bright on. Bring the lows down to about 3.5. Let's turn a fuzz. We're doing the tone bender on that and see how it works. Alright, so you can see by doing that you can get kind of a stoner rock fuzzy sound out of this amp on the clean channel. But let's say you wanted to have a little bit more clean, because this is not really very clean. So we'll go back to about 3, yeah, about 3 on the gain. Now that sounds pretty weak, right? So let's try turning the rhythm up, which is the post gain, the master volume. We're gonna coil split. And turn the bright off. To me, it's not a bad clean sound whatsoever, but you can set it like that. Let's just see. Let's just test the levels, see what happens. now we're going to try the crunch channel. Let's go to about 4 o'clock. Put the bright in, put the crunch in, bring the master back to about 3 o'clock. Bender on. It's pretty useful if you want to use like a tone bender style fuzz on the crunch channel. Now let's see what happens if we have the crunch set the way it is and kick an overdrive on and see if we can get like really metal aggressive tone that way. We have the Dunes set like an overdrive boost the way you would with the volume up, the gain down and tone up. And I'm lying, because with this pedal there's a lot of volume, so the volume's a little bit below halfway and the tone is about halfway and the gain is all the way down. If I was using SD1 it would be the way I was talking about, but it gives you a real '80s type tone, but we were trying to go for something a little bit heavier, so let's turn some of the gain up on the Dunes. Take it up a little bit more actually. Now let's compare that to the lead channel. Surprisingly, the lead channel has a little bit more low end oomph to it, just because it does naturally, and because we're cutting off some of that low end with the Dunes. So let's compensate a little bit. We're going to bring the lows up to about 6 o'clock, back to the crunch channel, back to the Dunes. Put the Dunes in the bright mode to see if that can't like give us the lows and the highs. We'll see what happens. or just simply boosting the lead channel with the SD1. So there you go, 5150 from Peavey. I believe it's the exact same amp as the 6505, the non-plus version. So if you can't find one of these, maybe find one of those, and they should be damn near the same. Don't need to pick anymore. I fucking love this amp. Like it resonates with me as a player. I've tried a lot of amps recently. I'm sure you guys, if you've been following me any time now, you've noticed that I've been through a lot of amps. Said it before, this one might stick around. We'll find out. I got another 5150 coming from UVH, so time to start collecting, I guess. I mean, I'll see you guys next time.